Let me be blunt with you. If a woman is opening up and telling you her problems, she's not just venting. She's testing something in you. She's showing you a side of herself she doesn't show everyone. And if you don't know what that actually means, you're going to completely misread her and maybe even push her away without realizing it. Most men think women just complain. They think when we bring up our struggles, it's because we want someone to fix them or give us advice. But here's the truth. When a woman shares her problems with you, she's actually letting you into her emotional world. And for women, that's a big deal. Because trust me, we don't do that with just anyone. Now here's where it gets interesting. What we want in that moment is not what most men think. You don't need to solve it. You don't need to give her a long lecture, and you definitely don't need to get frustrated or dismiss it. What we're looking for is something deeper. We're watching how you hold yourself when we bring you our vulnerability. Do you stay calm? Do you actually listen? Do you show us through your presence that we're safe with you? Because if you can do that, you immediately separate yourself from almost every other man out there. Most guys fail this test. They either get defensive, annoyed, or overly eager to fix it. And in doing so, they show us that they're not emotionally grounded enough to handle a woman in her real state. This is where Stoicism comes in. A Stoic man doesn't get pulled into emotional chaos. He doesn't lose himself when a woman shares her struggles. Instead, he listens. He studies himself. And he proves without saying much that he can carry himself like a man no matter what. That's exactly what makes women respect you. And yes, even fall harder for you. The ancient Stoics understood this principle intimately. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." And when a woman shares her problems with you, she is giving you a gift of her time and trust. Wasting that moment by dismissing her feelings or rushing to solve her problems is a form of emotional waste that she will not soon forget. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." This is the essence of what women are looking for when they open up. They want to know if you have power over your own mind. They want to see if you can remain centered while they are struggling. If you can, you prove that you are a man of substance. If you cannot, you reveal that you are easily shaken, and that is not attractive. 1. Why women share their problems with you. Here's something you probably haven't thought about. Women don't share their problems with every man they meet. In fact, most of the time we keep things bottled up or share only with people we deeply trust. So, if a woman is opening up to you about what's bothering her, it's a sign that she sees you as more than just another guy in her life. It means at the very least you've earned enough trust for her to peel back a layer of herself that she usually hides. Now, let me be very clear. Women are naturally emotional. Yes, but that doesn't mean we're careless with who we show those emotions to. Think about it. If she's telling you about her bad day, about how her boss embarrassed her in a meeting, or how she feels left out by her friends, she's not just complaining for the sake of it. She's watching how you respond. She's looking to see if you have the kind of energy she can lean on or if you'll just brush it off like everyone else. When women share their problems, it's less about the actual details and more about connection. We're giving you a chance to step into our world emotionally. If you meet that moment with presence, if you actually listen, if you nod, if you stay calm, then you're building something powerful without even realizing it, trust. But here's the trap most men fall into. Instead of just hearing us, they jump into solution mode. They start giving advice like they're our life coach. And while sometimes we'll take that advice, the truth is that's not what we're really after. What we're really craving in that moment is to feel understood, not fixed. If you can give us that, you immediately stand out. Let me paint this in a real way. Imagine she comes to you and says, "I feel like I'm the only one putting effort into my friendships. No one checks in on me, and it makes me feel like I don't matter." Most men would instantly say something like, "Well, then just stop talking to them or find better friends." Logical, sure, but emotionally that misses the point. She's not asking you to build her a new friend group. She's asking you to sit with her in that vulnerable moment to say something as simple as, "That sounds really tough. I get why you'd feel that way." That's it. That's the power. By acknowledging her feelings without trying to fix everything, you show her that she's safe with you emotionally. And once a woman feels safe with you on that level, her attraction naturally deepens. Because deep down, every woman wants to know, can this man handle me at my rawest? So remember this, if she's sharing her problems, it's not small talk. It's her way of letting you into her inner world. And that's the first step to creating real intimacy. 2. The test you don't realize you're taking. Here's the truth most men don't realize. When a woman tells you her problems, you're not just hearing her out. You're actually being tested. Not in a manipulative, game-playing kind of way, but in a very real, very instinctive sense. Women reveal parts of themselves as a way of measuring if you can handle it. Think about it. A doesn't want to waste her energy opening up to a man who's going to crumble, dismiss her, or make her feel foolish for being vulnerable. So, when she tells you about something that's bothering her, she's not only sharing, she's also silently asking, can this man stay grounded when I'm not? That's where so many men get it wrong. They think being stoic means being cold, detached, or indifferent. But that's not stoicism at all. And it's definitely not attractive. Real stoicism is about calm strength. It's about being centered even when emotions are swirling around you. When a woman sees that you can hold space for her feelings without getting rattled or trying to control the situation, that's when she starts to see you differently. She sees you as stable, and stability to a woman is magnetic. Let me break it down for you. When she shares her problems, there are a few different reactions you might have. If you dismiss her, oh, it's not that big of a deal. Don't stress. She'll feel unseen. That tells her you can't handle her emotional reality. If you get overwhelmed, wow, that sounds crazy. I don't even know what to say. She'll feel like you're not strong enough to carry weight when life gets heavy. If you overreact, why would your friends treat you like that? You need to cut them off right now. She'll feel like you're adding more chaos, not calming it. But if you simply stay grounded, listen, and respond with calm presence, you pass the test without even knowing you're taking it. You show her that her emotions won't knock you off balance, that you can be steady when she's not, and that is a huge part of why women fall for certain men. Not because they're the loudest, richest, or most charming, but because they feel emotionally safe in their presence. Epictetus taught, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This is the essence of the test. When she brings you her problems, the problem itself is not what matters. Your reaction is what matters. And if you can react with calm presence, you pass the test every single time. 3. Why listening beats solving every time. This is one of the biggest mistakes men make with women, and honestly, it's not your fault. Men are wired to solve problems. If something's broken, you want to fix it. If someone's hurting, you want to find the fastest solution. That's how most men show care. But here's the part you need to understand. When a woman tells you her problems, she's usually not looking for a solution. She's looking for connection. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but let me explain from a woman's perspective. When we share our struggles, it's not always because we want an answer. It's because we want to feel understood. Think about it. If she says, my boss is making my life miserable. He never appreciates me. And your response is, well, just quit your job. That doesn't make her feel better. Even if you're technically right, it feels like you brushed past her feelings and skipped straight to a fix. What she really wanted in that moment was for you to hear her, acknowledge her, and let her feel safe enough to let it out. When you rush to solve, she feels like you're not really listening. And worse, it can make her feel small, as if her emotions are something you want to push out of the way instead of sitting with. But when you slow down, lean in, and listen with presence, that's when the dynamic shifts. That's when she feels closer to you. Here's the truth. Women fall for the man who makes them feel seen. Not the man who always has the perfect answer, but the one who makes her believe her feelings matter. That's why listening is more powerful than solving, because it builds emotional intimacy. And intimacy is what makes her attached to you. Stoicism comes into play here, too. Real stoicism isn't silence. It's calm presence. It's being able to listen without jumping in, without getting defensive, without trying to prove how smart you are. It's simply being there grounded as she unloads what's on her chest. You'd be surprised how often women end up solving their own problems just by talking them out. What they needed wasn't your solution, it was your presence. 4. Emotional vulnerability is her way of choosing you. Most men underestimate just how big of a deal it is when a woman opens up about her problems. You might think she's just venting or oversharing, but from a woman's perspective, emotional vulnerability is never random. We don't hand our struggles to just anyone. We hand them to the people we trust. So, when she chooses you to hear her problems, whether it's about work, her family, her insecurities, or even her fears, what she's really saying is, I trust you enough to see the unpolished version of me. That's not small. That's huge. And if you understand how rare that is, you'll start to see how it's actually her way of signaling interest. A woman doesn't share her heart with a man she doesn't care about. She might laugh with strangers, flirt a little with someone she finds attractive, but when she shows you the messy parts of her life, that's a doorway into intimacy. It's her way of choosing you, even if she doesn't come out and say it directly. Here's where most men mess this up. They treat her vulnerability as either a burden or as background noise. They roll their eyes internally thinking, here we go again. More drama. Or they listen half-heartedly waiting for her to finish. When you do that, you miss the moment. You make her feel foolish for letting her guard down. And once a woman feels unsafe with her emotions, she won't open up again. She'll shut down and you'll lose access to the most important side of her, her true self. Now, from a Stoic perspective, here's what you need to realize. Your role is not to be emotionally reactive with her, but to be steady. That doesn't mean cold or detached. It means being the grounded presence that can hold space for her without judgment. If she's upset, you don't have to mirror her chaos. If she's anxious, you don't have to absorb her anxiety. Instead, your calm energy reassures her. It tells her, you can fall apart here and I'll still be standing strong. This is the essence of what women are looking for. They don't need a man who becomes a mess when they are a mess. They need a man who can be the eye of the storm while they are in the chaos. That is what makes them feel safe. And safety for a woman is one of the most powerful aphrodisiacs there is. 5. When she shares, she's inviting you close. When a woman tells you her problems, it's rarely about just wanting to talk. What she's really doing is extending an invitation. She's saying, here's a piece of me most people don't get to see. Do you want to come closer? Or are you going to stay on the surface? The way you respond to that moment determines whether she feels drawn to you or disappointed by you. Let me paint a picture. Imagine a woman telling a man about how her boss embarrassed her at work, made her feel small in front of colleagues, and now she's doubting herself. She's sitting across from him, speaking quickly, trying to make sense of her emotions. In that moment, she doesn't need him to jump in with, you should have said this, or, here's what I would have done. What she wants is for him to look at her, really see her, and say something simple like, that must have been hard, but you're stronger than you think. Now, notice what happened there. He didn't try to fix her problem. He didn't minimize it by saying, it's not a big deal. He didn't make it about himself. He held space, validated her feelings, and then gently reminded her of her strength. That's not weakness. That's not being her emotional babysitter. That's being a man who knows how to show steady presence without losing himself in the process. And here's the part most men miss. When she shares like that, it's her way of drawing you deeper into her world. Women bond through vulnerability. If she lets you in emotionally, it's her quiet way of telling you that she's open to letting you in physically, mentally, spiritually, all of it. But if you shut her down, brush it off, or act disinterested, she instantly feels a wall. She'll start to second-guess opening up again, and the attraction she felt, it fades. This is why Stoicism matters here. Being Stoic doesn't mean being cold or distant. It means being calm, steady, and grounded in moments where her emotions might feel overwhelming. It means you don't lose your balance just because she's upset. When you can hold your frame while still being present, she feels safe. And safety for a woman is one of the strongest precursors to desire. 6. Don't fix her, ground her. One of the biggest mistakes men make when a woman shares her problems is trying to fix them. I get it. Men are natural problem solvers. You hear her say she's stressed at work, and your instinct is to come up with solutions. Talk to your boss, update your resume, stand up for yourself. To you, that sounds logical and helpful. But to her, it often feels cold, dismissive, or like you didn't actually hear her. Here's the key you need to understand. When a woman is opening up, she usually isn't asking for a fix. She's asking for grounding. She's trying to feel steady again by leaning on your presence, your calm, your stability, your ability to just be there with her. That's what reassures her far more than any plan of action you can come up with. Think about it. If she's already overwhelmed, the last thing she wants is a lecture or a step-by-step process that makes her feel like she's failing at handling life. What she wants is simple acknowledgement. That sounds tough. I get why you're upset. By doing that, you show her that you're not afraid of her emotions. You're not running from her vulnerability, and you're not trying to silence her voice. You're grounding her, not rescuing her. And let me be blunt. When men constantly try to fix, it secretly pushes women away. She starts to feel like she can't come to you because she doesn't want advice. She wants connection. And instead of leaning on you, she'll start leaning on someone else emotionally. That's where men lose women without even realizing it. Grounding her means staying present and calm, even if she's storming emotionally. It's not about agreeing with everything she says or letting her vent endlessly. It's about showing her that you're solid, that you can listen, and that you're not shaken by her feelings. Women feel deep attraction to men who can stay strong without turning cold. So, how do you ground her instead of fixing her? Here are 3 simple shifts. Listen without rushing to answer. Let her get it out fully. Don't cut her off with solutions. Validate her emotions, not her problem. Say, I see why you feel that way, instead of, here's what you should do. Stay calm and steady. If she's upset, don't escalate. Keep your tone slow, grounded, and controlled. Pulls her back into balance. When you learn this difference, you'll notice something powerful. The more you stop trying to fix her, the more she actually sees you as her anchor. That's when she starts to miss you when you're not around. That's when she thinks, no one makes me feel as steady as he does. And trust me, once a woman associates you with safety and grounding, you become unforgettable in her world. 7. The hard truth. Not every problem is yours to carry. Here's something most men don't want to hear, but absolutely need to. Just because a woman shares her problems with you doesn't mean you're responsible for solving them, carrying them, or letting them weigh you down. This is where so many men get stuck. You confuse support with self-sacrifice, and before you know it, you're drained, frustrated, and even resentful. While she doesn't feel any closer to you, listen carefully. Women are attracted to men who are stable, not men who drown in their emotions. If every time she unloads her stress, you internalize it, obsess over it, and make it your mission to carry, she's not going to see you as strong. She's going to see you as weak. And no woman respects a man who gets pulled under by her emotions. Here's the truth from a woman's perspective. When we tell you our problems, what we're really doing is checking if you can hold space without collapsing. We want to know if you're the kind of man who stays rooted even when we're messy, emotional, or chaotic. But we don't want you to carry it as if it's now your job. That's not attractive. It's suffocating. This is where Stoicism becomes essential. Stoicism doesn't mean being cold or distant. It means being grounded in yourself, having emotional discipline, and not letting external chaos shake your core. If you can listen to her, empathize, maybe even offer perspective, but still stay centered in your own frame, she'll respect you deeply. She'll trust you more. She'll feel safer with you. But if you become over-involved, constantly trying to take on her emotional load, you stop being a partner and start becoming her emotional crutch. And the hard truth, women don't desire men they have to lean on like that. They desire men who can be leaned on without losing themselves in the process. The man she respects is the man she keeps. Seneca wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence on the future." This applies to relationships as well. If you are anxiously dependent on her mood, you will never be truly happy. But if you can enjoy the present with her, grounded in yourself, you will be free. And freedom is attractive. Here's the bottom line, brother. When a woman vents her problems to you, she's not asking you to solve her life. And she's definitely not looking for a man who gets swallowed by her emotions. She's testing, often unconsciously, whether you can remain strong, calm, and centered while she goes through her chaos. That's the difference between a man she respects and a man she tolerates. If you lose yourself every time she gets emotional, if you turn into her therapist, her fixer, or worse, her emotional sponge, you'll stop being the man she was attracted to in the first place. She doesn't need another problem. She needs a presence. And the men who master Stoic strength, who can listen and empathize, and yet remain unshaken, those are the men women fear losing the most. So, don't carry what isn't yours. Don't confuse love with self-sacrifice. Don't abandon your own frame just to make her feel better in the moment. You'll end up drained, bitter, and unappreciated. Instead, stand tall. Show her through your composure that you can hold space without losing balance. Because at the end of the day, women don't forget the man who stays unshaken. They don't forget the man who can meet their storms without being destroyed by them. That's the man they miss. That's the man they respect. And that's the man they'll fight to keep. Be that man her anchor, not her baggage. The Stoic Emperor Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If you cultivate thoughts of calm, steady presence, your soul will reflect that, and she will see it. She will feel it, and she will be drawn to it. Because in a world of chaos, a man who is anchored in himself is a rare and precious thing. Be that man and watch how everything changes.